Welcome to Subramani. Many people have asked me to give basics of what they should do about finance. So let's go to the very basic. The very basic is you have to learn how to save money. That is more important than learning how to invest money. You will learn how to invest money, and the sooner you learn, the better it is for you. But first, the question is, do you know how to save money? Do you know to live on 30 rupees if you earn 100 rupees, right? So can you save 70%? Can you save 80%? Of course, it's a function of with whom you're living, whether you're paying rent, whether you're paying for your food, but largely try to save as much as you can. And second, far more important thing is invest in yourself. Invest in your learning, invest in your health, because all this has to be done when you're 22, 23, right? You cannot keep postponing investing in yourself. You cannot keep postponing your health investments, right? So invest in yourself, learn better, keep better health, work hard, play harder, right? Get into demonic level of fitness, so that there is a financial implication to fitness also. You save a lot of money on medicines at a later stage, but I'm not even talking of the financial advantages. The sheer advantage that you can work harder because you are fitter will kick in somewhere in your 30s or 40s, and for all that, again, investments have to be made in your 20s. Remember, compounding works in your wealth and in your health. So take the fullest advantage of compounding. Save better, invest better in your health. Then the other important thing is never stop learning, because as time goes by, you will need better and better skills. If you are a chartered accountant or an MBA, you will need very good videography skills, because a lot of your stuff is going to go through on video. So knowing how to make videos, how to use doodles, and how to use the whiteboard, all that is going to mean a lot in your communication skills later on. So learn the main skills, which means if you're a chartered accountant, learn about audit and taxation and valuation, etc. If you're a CFA, learn about equity valuation, debt valuation, see what is happening in the M&A space, right? If you are a CFP, learn about behavioral finance. Of course, there is nothing stopping you from learning other people's work, but your own work, there is a lot of things to be learned. So you can't escape reading at least 30 pages a day after you have passed the exam. And after you have passed the exam is a great time to revisit your CA final books or your MBA final books, because once you read it for passing the exam, now learn the subject properly, right? For example, pick up balance sheets and do ratio analysis. You may not have done ratio analysis in real life situation, so do it. If you are in an audit, sit there, take the balance sheet and do a ratio analysis, and if you see something showing up very badly, maybe you need to do a better audit of that, right? So ratios don't improve dramatically, so your learning has to be applied to your work, so do that. So don't do this is a very common thing that you will hear people saying, do something you love. That's not true. You can't do something you love. You have to do something which people will pay because you are doing. So you love to be with children, playing with children is no great use. It's not going to pay you. But if you start a nice creche and make sure that it's a high premium creche meant to look after kids, with no television, but somebody is sitting and doing storytelling and all those things which grandparents used to do. If you can do all that, people will be willing to pay a price, because you're doing a good job. Why are you doing a good job? Because you love to be with children. So you won't get paid for being with children, but however, if you run a creche, you're doing something you love and you're doing something that you get paid for. So remember Ikigai. It is good to love what you are doing, but to get paid is even more important. So make sure that for whatever you're doing, you're getting paid. That's important. Automate your finances. This is very important. Get a credit card. Make sure that your telephone bill, your electricity bill, and all those bills are automated on your credit card. You will collect enough points. All your investments also have to be automated, so that there is no thinking. Let us say you get paid on the 31st of every month or on the 1st of every month. On the first or on the second, should all your SIPs be bunched and sent out, and the bills on the due date should all be paid out of your credit card, and maybe your credit card cycle is the 7th of the month, so that should also be automated. Once you automate all this, you don't have the stress of saying, oh, there is a last day for this and there's a first day for this, I'm in Ladakh and there is no connectivity, how will I pay my bill? Nothing, everything is automated. These are stress causing areas. You removed all that, because maybe your telephone bill is 325 rupees, doesn't really matter. Does it matter that you pay on time or not pay on time? Yes, if you don't pay, you could get into trouble. So make sure it is automated. Put a limit of 400 rupees. The minute that it is above 400, you will get a notification. Go there and empower the system to make the payment. But automating everything is very useful, and you should do it. Use the 50-30-20 rule, which means you will spend about 50% of your money on essentials, assuming you're living on your own, and which means this includes your housing, your EMI or your rent, your food, etc. 30% on personal vacations, etc., and 20% of your income should be saved. Now the other way to look at it is to say, can I live on 50% and save 50% so that I can invest that? Because when you're young, the chances are you have no great expenses. You're not paying towards your parents' loans or your loans or anything. So maybe try to save 50-60%, so that once you're married and you're committed to a house and you're paying EMI, that time you have more flexibility. So look at the 50-30-20 rule and see how it works for you, and make sure more of it is saved and then invested, right? Getting into the markets is useful, but getting into the markets, knowing how the markets work, is far more useful. So try doing in the Indian context, try doing the NISM exams for mutual funds and debt markets, equity markets. Then you get a better hang, you get the book to read, and you might be better off as an investor learning all that, and you will be able to take your own decisions of how to do asset allocation and things like that. If you don't understand or you don't wish to understand, there's always the index fund which is available. Blindly go and put money in an index fund. It is suboptimal. It is not the optimal thing. But anyway, it is much better than leaving your money sleeping in a savings bank account at 0%. When I say 0%, I mean you get some 2-3%, of which you pay 30% tax or 20% tax, and that inflation is 2-3%. So you will be left with a negative return actually. So when I say zero, I'm being very nice to you. What I mean is you are sitting on a negative return. Make sure that you take adequate medical insurance and life insurance, and make sure you write your will the minute you buy a real estate. Buy some kind of a real estate, make sure that the documentation is good. Once you get married, make sure that you and your spouse know what you're doing, and before your marriage, make sure that your parents know what you have done and who is the nominee and things like that for all your other assets. I find cases where children have made their parents a nominee, parent do not know it, and once the child, there are cases where the child dies before the parent. In such cases, the parents have no clue where the money is invested, what has happened. Don't do this. Make sure that everybody knows. You should know where your parents have invested, and your parents should know where you have invested. Hard work never killed anybody, but make sure that you work hard, learn well, form your alliances, go to LinkedIn, make sure your presence is there, make sure that you're there on social media. But make sure that when somebody sees your social media account, they look at you as an accountant or a lawyer or a dancer or a software person, or maybe you are acting in films. That's fine. So your personality should get reflected in that, and understand that everybody is looking at your profile, including your future spouse, your future spouse's parents, your future employer, your customers. Everybody is looking at it. So make sure you have a decent profile, or exactly what you have in mind as to how people should think about you is how it should be. If people think of you as an adventurous person because you are into adventure tourism as a profession, then make sure that you are hanging down a cliff or doing a bungee jumping. But if you are an accountant, make sure it's a sober profile with a grey dress and a suit and a tie, because that's how they want to see you on LinkedIn. and maybe some of the people want to see you like that even on Facebook. If you're there, show a good profile. It's not compulsory to be there. Make sure that you're doing the right things. Thank you.